5th Congressional District, I represent a region with a vibrant business community centered in Atlanta. Despite the success of many local companies, big ones, small ones, and everything in between, our city faces one of the largest racial wealth gaps in the nation. One critical barrier to bridging this gap is the lack of agency that underrepresented communities have over their investments. In a rapidly evolving corporate landscape, the role of proxy advisors and environmental, social, and governance, or ESG practices, has become increasingly important. These tools are pivotal for ensuring that investors, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds, have a meaningful voice in the companies they support. Proxy advisors provide essential recommendations that help shareholders make informed decisions on corporate governance and ESG issues. This guidance is crucial in an era where companies are increasingly judged on their sustainability practices, board diversity, and social responsibility, whether you agree with it or not. Effective proxy advisory services empower investors to advocate for changes that promote greater equity and accountability within corporations. For communities in Atlanta and across the nation, especially those that are historically underrepresented, shareholder proposals are a key mechanism for influencing corporate policies that affect their lives. Initiatives such as enhanced board diversity, equitable pay practices, and sustainable environmental policies are often driven by these proposals. These changes not only advance social justice, but can also improve corporate performance and long-term profitability. Recent proposals to limit the influence of proxy advisors and restrict shareholder engagement threaten to undermine these advancements. Some legislative efforts aim to narrow the scope of proxy advisory services and impose restrictive voting requirements on passive funds. These changes could significantly diminish the ability of individual investors, especially those from underrepresented communities, to have their concerns addressed and their voices heard. This is particularly relevant in Atlanta, where the business community's influence is substantial, yet the economic disparities remain stark. Limiting proxy advisors' roles and stalling shareholder engagement could exacerbate these disparities by concentrating decision-making power among a few, leaving underrepresented investors with even less influence over the companies they're invested in. As we discuss these important issues today, it is crucial to recognize that shareholder proposals and proxy advisory services are not just technicalities. They're vital tools for ensuring that all investors, particularly those from underserved communities, have the opportunity to shape corporate practices and contribute to a more equitable economic landscape. Ensuring that these tools remain robust and accessible is essential for fostering inclusive corporate governance and addressing systemic inequalities. Mr. Frericks, given the significant economic disparities faced by underrepresented communities, such as those in Atlanta, how do shareholder proposals empower these communities to influence corporate policies that directly affect their economic opportunities and overall well-being?
We value diversity on our boards. We push for board diversity. We do that not out of a sense of it's our values, but it brings value to the company. There have been numerous studies that have shown that diverse boards outperform homogeneous boards. And so once again, this gets to, as a fiduciary, driving returns for our investors.
So it's not just good because it makes you feel good to have all communities represented, but it sounds like it's also good for the bottom line.
It is good for the bottom line. When you get a bunch of people sitting around a table with the same backgrounds, with the same education, they frequently fall into groupthink. There's a lot of head nodding and agreeing. If you get people from different backgrounds, they bring up opportunities that people from a homogeneous background might miss. So they have better opportunities out there. They don't miss on business opportunities, and there's a better discussion at the boardroom.
So considering the impact of proxy advisors in shareholder proposals, what specific benefits have these mechanisms provided to communities with severe racial and economic disparities like those in my home city of Atlanta?
Yeah. We couldn't do our job. We would have to hire a lot of people to research and go through the tens of thousands of proxy votes in a year. They are our partners in helping us get to that information that we find valuable in making decisions.
And I have a lot of questions remaining that I'm going to run out of time, but I want to talk more about past instances in shareholder proposals that have advanced social justice and equity within corporate practices, particularly benefiting marginalized communities, but I'm going to submit the rest of my questions for the record. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The chair will remind you, you could submit that for the record as well, if you so choose.
Thank you.
With that, the chair